Welcome back to another video. In the last few videos, we've broken down plyometrics into 3 different phases. We started with the eccentric phase, how to absorb force safely and build control. Then we moved on to the amortization phase, that quick 0.25 seconds when we store and transfer that energy into force. Today, we're gonna dive into the last phase of plyometrics, which is the concentric phase. This phase is exactly what most people think about when they think about plyometrics. It's the takeoff, the explosiveness, the athleticism, the fun stuff that we get to see. The moment when all that stored energy gets released into explosiveness and athleticism. The concentric phase is when strength turns into real power. When the force turns into height, distance, speed, athleticism, explosiveness. The fun stuff that we get to see. And after an ACL injury, people want to rush into explosiveness as soon as possible. After an ACL injury, this is usually the phase that people want to skip into, just getting to the fun, explosive stuff. But it only works if you set your foundations right. And these are the foundations that we talked about in the previous videos. Learning how to land safely, taking on that force, releasing it into good energy. If you get the foundations right, going from eccentric to amortization to now concentric, you'll produce powerful and safe jumps. And after an ACL injury, this phase is usually the phase that people want to skip into because it looks the most fun, it looks very exciting. It only works if the foundation is already there. And this is the foundation that we talked about, having the stiffness and control before we jump. If your concentric phase or that push-off phase is weak or delayed, you will see this in the way you jump or you run or you sprint. All right, you're gonna feel a step slower, you're gonna feel not as bouncy, you just don't feel like you have that spring in you. And that's usually not a strength problem, that's a power problem. And power is about how quickly you can produce force. And here I'm going to show you the 3 progressions that I use with my ACL clients. Number 1, weighted jumps. We start by adding just enough load to produce enough force for you to push off the ground. These aren't just about jumping as high as you can. These are about control and intent. You want to make sure you're driving through the floor and focusing on that explosive takeoff. Number 2, power leg presses, one of my favorites. Next, we bring that same intention into a controlled setting. Controlled meaning you are in a seated position, you don't have much balance to work with. You don't have to worry about balance, you just go in a seated position. Think of this like maximally producing takeoff force or push-off force without worrying about balance and coordination. You're driving through the platform as fast and as hard as you can, really training your mind and your body to connect in that environment. Number 3, single leg box jumps. Finally, we put it all together. We take all this into a full movement now. Jumping onto a box really allows you to express all that force that you've gathered from the eccentric, just learning how to control that landing, changing into amortization very quickly under 2.5 seconds. Now we put it all together into the box jumps. So you take all that energy that you stored, jumping, doing little hops before the big jump. As you can see, we're doing tiny mini hops before we get to do the big jump. Here the goal is maximal intent. You want to obviously get up to the box with control, with explosiveness. So in summary, strength gives you the base, reactivity makes it efficient, and power brings it all together. When you integrate all these 3 phases of plyometrics properly, you will see a huge difference in the way you run, jump, and play. You'll feel a bounce in your step again, you'll feel athletic, and you'll feel like your knee's finally confident. Just remember, the plyometric phase is usually the phase that most people skip in ACL rehab. Research shows that over 70% of ACL rehab misses out on the plyometrics. So if you're part of the 30% that incorporates eccentrics, amortization, and concentric in your rehab, you're already winning. You're gonna feel a difference in the way you move, you're gonna feel a difference in the way you play, run, and jump. So that's it for the video and the series. I hope you really enjoyed the series. Make sure you watch from the beginning if you haven't already. We got the intro, eccentrics, amortization, and then now putting it all together into the concentric. If you found the series helpful, please let me know by giving it a like, giving it a thumbs up, hit the notifications button, click the subscribe button. It lets me know that I'm providing good value for you, and I'll keep doing that. If you want to see how I integrate progressions into ACL rehab, check out the link in the description. It's a free masterclass that explains how you can get back to running, jumping, and playing after ACL injury. I'll see you soon.